Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we have Week 12 review of all the Sunday games. Not as many this week because of the 3 games on Thursday, but we might as well go through some of the top performances here, as it looks like, Jeff, both me and you have wrapped up playoff spots in our main league that we talk about from time to time on here, which is not, you have. You're wrapped up officially. You're good to go. I should be good to go. We'll see. But we have a chance maybe get that championship against each other.
Let's hope. Yeah, well, it's either you get another one or I finally get one after being in the playoffs almost every single time. So we'll find out. It'll be heartbreak or a celebration for me.
Oh, yeah, just a few more weeks away, so we're getting there. But all right, let's jump into this, because one of the guys who you traded for just a few weeks ago is the top guy on the board this week, and it's Christian McCaffrey, 35.7 in standard. Just that's in standard. So in PPR with his 11 catches, he's up at like 46.7. So 17 carries, 125 yards and a touchdown, 11 receptions, 112 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this guy has just been ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he really has. And I luckily got him at the right time, but, we kind of talked him up. He was starting to make strides, and they were starting to give him the ball more. And you can see that. I mean, since week 8, he hasn't gotten any less than 13 carries. And so anywhere from 13 to 17, and that doesn't include any touches he gets through the passing game. And the lovely thing about McCaffrey, even though he's been killing it the past 5 weeks or so, is his schedule doesn't slow him down at all.
No.
I mean, really, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, New Orleans, Atlanta.
Not bad.
I mean,
Cleveland's
not at all.
the toughest one.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. And 2 of those are away. And then the 15-16, which would probably be, the final 2 weeks of your playoffs, are at home as well. So you have to love where McCaffrey is doing right now and what he is able to do with this stretch, as long as, he plays the way he has been.
He's turned himself, like he's going to be top 5 next year in drafts. I mean, he's going to have to be the way he's been playing. It's going to be, I think he should be there. Gurley will be there, obviously. Zeke, Barkley. I think McCaffrey's up there.
He is. He's starting to. He probably won't make that. He'll be in that second tier now, like officially that second tier, kind of where like Melvin Gordon is.
Yep.
But there's a lot, and we're about to go over a bunch of them. But there's a lot of running backs that are really doing their thing right now.
Yeah, they're starting to step up.
Yeah, and one that we expected was number 2 this week, and a guy that you have, Saquon. I mean, my gosh, man, this guy is Superman.
He is, but this 26.2 in standard is about the most disappointing 26.2 I've ever seen, because they just stopped giving him the ball in the second half. I don't know. He had, I think, 4 or 5 touches in the second half, maybe. That's it. Like, I think it was 15 in the first half, 5 in the second half. They took him out for an entire drive to just rest him. And guess what? They were up 19-3 at one point and lost 25-22. So good on you, Pat Shurmur. God, I don't understand it. I mean, maybe it's because it's a lost season really anyway, for the most part. And what's the point of, running your star rookie into the ground? So I guess maybe look at it that way, but it was kind of disappointing. He had like 25 basically at the half. So yeah, but still, he's so good. The guy's just so good.
It is crazy to think that performance was lackluster, especially, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but he still got 20 touches between carries and being a wide receiver. So that is the crazy part about it. Like, this team will get him the ball 20 to 30 times a game. And, there's no doubt, obviously, he is that talented to make stuff happen. But even when he doesn't score a touchdown, which he pretty much does every week, it feels like, I don't know how he's doing what he's doing on New York, to be quite honest. He has lived up to the hype and gone, far, far past.
Yeah, I mean, they looked better at times, the offense did early, but then, the second half happened. But let's see some other guys. Another rookie here, Nick Chubb, 24.8 in standard. And he's doing his off of a lot of volume. He's been good though. He's been good, and he gets 28 carries here, along with 3 catches. So the volume's there. The yards per carry is going to look pretty poor today, but who cares when you're getting that kind of volume and you're actually catching a couple balls, touchdown receiving, touchdown running, and he's been really good since they've made him the starter and traded away Carlos Hyde. He hasn't really disappointed, and this was probably in the preseason. I mean, other than Darius Geis, got the injured. I think we were higher on Nick Chubb than any other of the rookies, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, he is completely stepped in for Hyde. I feel like there has been no difference in the run game. I mean, it's pretty much been the same exact kind of deal. And we talk about Hyde. He's no slouch. He is actually a pretty good running back. So it's good to see him do that. And, just looking at, Cleveland and as a whole, they got the win, and their pieces that they put into place have been looking better and better every single week. Chubb is one of them. Njoku got another touchdown this week, and Baker Mayfield is, every time he gets out there, he looks a little more comfortable. He had a monster game this week. We'll get to him. So there is a whole lot to love on Cleveland right now. Sadly enough to kind of jump over, but the only person that is not to love on the team at the moment is Jarvis Landry.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he won't be high on the ratings board, but he's going to be another one that we could talk about how he kind of been disappointing lately. But, Nick Chubb, 28 carries, 84 yards and a touchdown. You're right. The yards per clip won't look spectacular, but he's getting it done. And that was, at Cincinnati as an away game. They dominated the clock. So I like what they did. I think everything he did was, right on point.
And then Leonard Fournette looked really good again. Now he's back from injury, 95 yards on 18 carries, 2 touchdowns, but he got himself thrown out for getting in a fight. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Oh, that was great. And then they end up losing. Yeah. Jacksonville is such a dumpster fire of a team right now. It is unbelievable.
Since he's been back from injury, he's gotten in standard 22.9, 20.1, and 22.8. He's been really, really good.
Speaking of doing it by bulk,
right?
If he didn't get himself thrown out, he would have gotten probably another 10 touches.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely,
it's crazy.
And then I think actually the play he got himself thrown out, I'm almost positive. I think that ended up being the play they were down on like the 1 yard line. He probably would have got that touchdown. Just come on, man. And then this was Thursday, but LeGarrette Blount, I will say I was wrong. I did not see this coming. I didn't think he even had it in him. 19 for 88 and 2 touchdowns. I don't know what this means going forward. And this was against Chicago too, to top it off. I didn't see it coming. I don't trust it. So
I don't trust it either. He's going to go against some difficult, defenses to run on. Not like Chicago's not, but I think he's whatever. He'll get the goal line carries, so he'll probably be good for a touchdown maybe as long as Detroit's playing all right. But I don't expect him to have that kind of success again coming up against the Rams next week.
Then the next guy on the list is Kenyon Drake gets his random good fantasy game despite only 8 carries. 8 for 32 and a touchdown, but he had 5 for 64 receiving and a touchdown. This is just a very untrustable guy. Again, even worse than Blunt for that matter. I don't know. It's a random occurrence that happens. It's happened a couple times this season for Kenyon Drake. He's still not somebody I would. There's going to be spots where you're going to put him in your lineup when you don't have another option, but I feel like there's other options. I don't trust this because he's still getting out carried by Gore by quite a bit. But
yeah, and really, there was he had 2 really big plays, and obviously you can say that about a lot of different players, but he looked good, but it's such a split there, and I don't trust that offense. They're not going to put up a ton of points by any means, so I think his season, if you look back, is kind of what you're expecting, right? He'll have a game over, in double digits, then he'll have 2 that he gets like 1 point, then another one in double digits, then it continues. So the 2 games before this were 3.5 and 3.8. Now we bust out for 21.6. So, that's what you're looking at, especially when you're about to hit Buffalo and New England. I expect, that trend to continue.
And then Sony Michel looked really good. 21 for 33 and a touchdown. He's looking again, finally, like he did before his injury. And they use him quite a bit, and he's a good player. So don't hesitate to put him in your lineup. And then Melvin Gordon, he looked really good again. He had 10 for 61 and 2 touchdowns on his way to a huge game. And then the knee injury. It's some sort of MCL injury. We don't really know right now if it's a sprain. Like the common recovery timeline for a sprain is 2 to 4 weeks, but we don't know for sure if that's what it is. Hopefully, if you're using him, you're set in the playoffs and you can get by without without him. But it's going to be rough for people who've been relying on Melvin Gordon. How do you feel about that, Jeff? I know you as a Melvin Gordon. Yeah, I'm a Melvin Gordon owner too in our other league. I'll say that we're in 2 leagues together that have been going on 9 and 10 years. I got Gordon in the other, so kind of a good time.
This is where you wish you had more control over your players. You wish that you could actually sit them. Like, I'm in the playoffs. Don't rush him back. Yep. He looked great, man. That guy can find the end zone with the best of them. I really am. I mean, I'm mortified that this could be, pretty much take him out for the entire fantasy season. I know he doesn't care about that, but if it's only 2 weeks, I can deal with it. But if it's over that, we're in rough shape and you have to go other places. And I guarantee he's, your number 1 running back, so yeah, it's a rough blow. So I guess we'll wait for the MRI to find out exactly what the issue is. But, everyone's crossing their fingers, hope for, just a week or 2 out.
And then it's kind of, if he's out, it's going to be kind of a split, I think, between Eckler and Justin Jackson got a little bit of work and looked pretty decent. So I don't think they're going to go away from him.
No. Yeah. And if he doesn't play, I think both will get work. But I think Eckler is just incredibly safe. I think you can just put him in your lineup. And obviously, you've known that if you have him and, Gordon was out.
Yeah, because Eckler, he might not. He's going to be probably out carried by Jackson, but he's going to get catches. And he had 10 today, so that'll probably continue. Then Philip Lindsay, another good game, 110 yards and a touchdown. The guy just continues to get it done. Just crazy to see for an undrafted rookie. A lot of rookies on this list, too. But Philip Lindsay's definitely the one that's the biggest surprise. And
yeah, and he did it today without catching 1 ball, which is actually pretty crazy. He's just a good player now. He doesn't need to be in the pass catching role. He is their best running back. I mean, it's pure and simple. Every time he got the ball, he was springing for 10, 15 yards. So, Philip Lindsay is, he's just a good football player.
Well, and then actually the next guy on the list, another rookie who was, I believe, undrafted. Again, another undrafted rookie here, Josh Adams, who has taken over the job. He's won the job in Philly. They said he was going to be the feature back. He got 22 carries today for 84 yards. He actually got one. It was a 52-yarder, got called back in the first quarter. So his day would have been huge. He doesn't get anything in the passing game, though. Only 1 target, no catches. But still, if you picked up Josh Adams, I mean, this is where I'm saying, like, it's another guy we'll talk about in a minute, like Gus Edwards. This is where you get this random, you win a championship with your running back lineup of Josh Adams and Gus Edwards. There's always somebody in this. These are the 2 guys this time. Like Edwards, 23 for 118 today. So Adams and Edwards coming out of nowhere. And, I mean, just all of a sudden, these guys who were on, no one knew who they were whatsoever. And all of a sudden, Gus Edwards, another undrafted rookie. The 3 undrafted rookies, you're counting Lindsay. It's crazy to see all these running backs just appearing. And then guys like Ronald Jones can't do anything as a 2nd-round draft pick.
Right. Well, I'll give you this. You're I don't want to say your guy, but your guy, Peyton Barber. Another solid game. 18 carry game. Didn't do quite as much as he did against New York the week before, but another touchdown. So he has kind of turned into the last 2 weeks performances that make you wonder if this is going to be a consistent, outing for him.
Yeah, it's not pretty, but he gets the touchdown again. So he continues to, make himself, for the most part, he's probably a flex option. I don't trust him, though. That's why I released him in our league. I didn't even want to have the opportunity to play him anymore. As weird as that is. But a lot of these guys just, come out of nowhere. I mean, Joe Mixon had another solid game. Aaron Jones, he got little bit left in this game. He's not going to probably do much more. He's another solid outing for him. And then, any other standouts here for you?
No, I mean, Zeke did really well. We glossed over him, but we kind of expect it. The guy you traded for. So, yeah, I don't know. They're going to keep giving him a ton of touches. He's going to keep doing well. So nothing crazy. I think the only other person that showed me something before we get to the people who were maybe a little underwhelming was Aaron Jones. He had another solid outing. And, that makes, I don't even know, like 5 weeks really, whether or not he's gotten a touchdown. He did have that game against New England where he had 14 touches for 75 yards, which, is good enough. You know what I mean? But every other game he's been in double digits. You're pretty much going to 20. Like what you're seeing there. He's another one. If you held on to him or picked him off of waivers, to your point, there is a lot of guys on here. There's probably 5 or 6 that you could mix and match, and you could be winning with them, which is crazy, especially with how many of them have come in the past 2 weeks.
And then how about some of the disappointments, I guess, at running back? You could look at back on Thursday, Thanksgiving, Jordan Howard did absolutely nothing again. This guy's fallen quite a bit. This is not someone that should be in your lineup anymore, right? At this point, I don't trust him. 1.5. 7 carries, 13 yards, 1 catch for 2 yards. He's in standard scoring. He's done the last 3 weeks, 3.2, 6.5, 1.5. Just very ugly.
Yeah. It's sad to say, I go back and forth on him just because of that's kind of the nature of, their offense now. But you're right. Tariq Cohen is kind of the guy they go to. They're passing a lot more. They don't really ground and pound the way they used to with Howard. So, it's very difficult to trust. And along those lines, pretty much the same exact result. Lindsey is doing well, but Royce Freeman, once again, every once in a while he get a touchdown, so his numbers haven't looked quite as bad as they really should have. But 6 carries for 17 yards today, it just didn't get it going. They've really shifted completely to Lindsey. So if you're in a position where you're still thinking about Freeman, you definitely should look other places.
Well, then I'll say James White, while not a just terrible game for standard, 9 for 73, could be worse. If you've been using him and he's been doing probably more in PPR, if he's been really great for you in PPR, and today he only turned in 1 catch for 5 yards, which is kind of an odd thing. I think Sony Michel, the better Sony Michel is, the more they use him, the more this hurts James White. So that production you were getting there in that middle stretch of the season, not so sure it's going to happen anymore. He's going to have some flashes, but it's not going to be as consistent as it once was.
Yeah, that's a strange one. I'm not ready to call that one quite yet. And you said why, because he did only get 1 catch, but Sony Michel wasn't catching any either. So I'm not sure if that is if because Gronk was back in the mix and they could throw to him, or they just didn't need to throw it, out of the backfield. I'm not exactly sure, but 9 carries for 73 yards. It was disappointing to a certain extent, but he actually got, I was surprised actually to get 9 carries along with Sony Michel getting over 20. I really thought that James White would go back to that role where he's just catching, eight balls for, 70 yards and a touchdown. So I'm interested to see how they move forward with him now.
What about any concern about James Conner and how he's not really been that great for 3 straight weeks now?
Yeah, a little bit, right? Not completely. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think you're going to not play him. But if you're right now, you're going into the, playoffs or trying to, if he is the guy that's supposed to be your number 1, number 2, it is kind of cause for concern. To be fair to him, the last 3 weeks he has seen less touches, 13 rushes, 9, and 13 again. And they were all pretty decent defenses, right? So not the end of the world. You're about to hit Chargers, and then you do hit Oakland to begin the playoffs, or a lot of people, begin the playoffs in week 14. So that's a great matchup. So, I'm not off of him, but it has been lackluster, and especially the way Pittsburgh's been playing, where they kind of have to be, they're trying to make a comeback. at the end of the game, you're not going to be running it near as much. So it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But at this point, I think you're playing him no matter what. So no use in really worrying about it.
And how about some wide receivers here? Might as well bring up some of the wide receivers. Well, I guess we should start with Thursday and Amari Cooper at 8 for 180 and 2 touchdowns. But this is the massive Amari Cooper game you get every once in a while too. He's done this. This isn't new for him. It feels different maybe because he's finally getting into the swing of things with Dallas. Maybe that's why this seems like it could be different. Not 100% sure yet, but hey, I feel pretty decent about it. This guy's extremely talented, and it was going to hopefully shine through at some point with a new team. And I mean, he's capable of these massive games. So hopefully, maybe he can still live up to the potential he had.
Maybe,
right?
I mean, everything you say is completely true. The difficult aspect is either you held on to him and he was a pretty high draft pick. So I don't know if you're in the playoffs or not, but that definitely hurt you. Or you traded for him, and which at that point is awesome. But hopefully you got him for like a wide receiver 2, 3. Then you just have to make the decision whether or not you're playing him in the playoffs, whether or not you trust him, because it will be up and down still. Like I still don't believe that he is going to be a plug and play. He's just, he's going to be all over the place.
Then how about the number 2 guy here for the week, Juju Smith-Schuster, 13 for 189 and a touchdown.
I love my Juju.
I mean, that is an impressive showing right there.
Yeah, and it is a very impressive showing, and he did well without, but they did also have a 97-yard, throw to him. He outran people. It was awesome to watch, but at the same time, even without that, and that's usually where I'd be like, okay, let's not get, you take that away. He was still 12 for like 100 yards. Like he is just that. He's a volume type wide receiver, and they're gonna keep throwing. So, you have to love what he's able to do. And even with Antonio Brown on the field, which once again, he's had these games where he completely, overshadows what Antonio Brown is able to do. So, we'll see once again, but he is a plug and play guy.
Yeah, without a doubt. You don't even hesitate. You just throw him in. Adam Thielen just finished up 8 for 125 and a touchdown. Another really good game.
He's back.
Yeah, just solid. This guy's he had 2 games in a row where he didn't quite get there. Now he's back to the 100. Just really good player. Then Tyler Lockett had 5 for 107 and a touchdown. Seems to be a guy that we always thought could do something early on a couple years ago. But he's actually put together a pretty solid season. If you look at his, games here, he's had now in standard, he's up to 6 double-digit scoring games, which is, not too bad. Especially for a guy that I seem to, I don't know why, I just kind of underestimate him. But he was 18th. He was the 18th ranked receiver heading into today, so he's going to go up probably a little bit from that. So, I don't know, just one of those guys that doesn't earn my trust yet. I need to see a lot more.
Yeah, and, he's pretty even keel. My biggest thing with him was the fact that he was always getting hurt, and this year has been completely different, even though, everyone else got hurt on that team. But if you look at what he's been able to do, it's been a little up and down for the most part, though, especially lately. It feels like you can, kind of bank on 5 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the guy has 8 touchdowns, which I would not, going into it, that's what I didn't expect. So it's very good to see, and especially with Russell Wilson, he needs someone to throw it to. And, it'll be different guys jumping up and down on there. But Lockett has turned into kind of a sneaky wide receiver 3 that you can pretty much rely on. And it, I say rely, it's kind of, every other game kind of deal, going double digit or not. But he would definitely be helpful having on your team.
Well, then the next guy on the list is his teammate David Moore, who had 4 for 103 and a touchdown. Moore's had a couple of these games now this year. He had his last big game was week 8, and then he's done nothing for 3 weeks. Another big game here because of mainly nice touchdown. I don't really trust him, and I trust Lockett obviously a lot more than I trust David Moore. But just another guy to look at, I guess. And then the next guy on the list, Robert Foster from Buffalo. 1 for 75. He had the 175-yard touchdown, and then he caught one more ball. But this is actually 2 games in a row where he's put together big receiving yard numbers with little catches. He only has 5 catches in these 2 games, but he has 199 yards and a touchdown off of him. So he's a big play guy.
Talk about a guy I do not trust. But that Buffalo offense looked a lot better today. And really with Allen, okay, and that's another strange one. The fact that Allen did he have a 100-yard rushing game? He had something ridiculous. I'll have to look exactly what it was, but he was running all over the place. And it's very confusing to watch Buffalo actually look halfway decent. So I'm not sure what to think about them or if Jacksonville is really that crappy.
Yeah, Allen, he ended up with 99 in a touchdown.
99.
Yeah, so he ended up with a 28.3 scoring output here with only 160 yards and a touchdown passing. This is going to be a guy that can put up points, it looks like, in just random ways.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not what you expect, but remember early on in the year, or before the year, everyone said, this is the guy, this is the terrible draft pick, nothing's going to happen. But hey, he's getting it done. You know, it's...
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I haven't lost complete faith. I'm interested to see what he's able to do. Like, he hasn't... I think he's had one game where he's been able to throw for over 200 yards.
Yeah.
So, I'm pumping the brakes on that. But Buffalo is a rough team to be on. So I give him a lot of credit for doing as well as he has done.
The one difference, I guess, the one thing is it's not a plug and play against playing the defense against Buffalo anymore. That's one thing it's not.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's changed that at least where I don't feel comfortable with it. Before I thought that was going to be the easiest play there was. And not so much now. So I'm not going to, especially those weaker defenses like the Jets and the Lions who are playing against them, and they're in this stretch. I'm not going to just use them now for no reason. Next guy, let's see here. We got Stephon Diggs, 8 for 77 and a touchdown. Solid game for Diggs. Dede Westbrook got himself a touchdown. Ran the ball once for 43 yards. So he's up on the list. But I've always liked Dede, but he's not consistent enough. So can't trust him. Emmanuel Sanders continues to be very solid. 7 for 86 and a touchdown. So I was so wrong on Emmanuel Sanders, and I will admit that. I did not see this season coming, even though he had 3 weeks now in a row that were pretty poor. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe this is back to what I thought. But hey, here he shows up again. So he's better than I thought.
Yeah. What can he say?
Yeah, he's better than I thought. So I'll give him that. And yeah, I think he's a fine start. I'll say that. I still don't think I don't know. He has those 3 weeks in a row where he just did nothing. Just kind of worries me. He could put those together at any time. Tyler Boyd got himself 7 for 85 and a touchdown, so not bad. His first, actually, I think, first good game without AJ Green. I thought it would, it's hard for him to really, without AJ, everyone's just worried about him. And it made it a little rough for him, but solid outing. Then Mike Williams gets himself 2 touchdown catches, only 4 catches for 25 yards, but 2 of them are touchdowns. He's caught decent amount of touchdowns this year.
What does he have? He's, if I'm counting up real quick, I think he only has 24 receptions, and he has 7 of those are touchdowns. So they're using him for a very specific reason, but it's, turning out okay for people if you kind of, are using him sparingly. Every once in a while you'll hit.
Yeah, and I don't trust it, but I think this shows there is definitely room for improvement next year, and it might just take one more year before he starts to, come around. But he can catch the ball, he can catch touchdowns. And then some other random guys show up. Dante Pettis. I kind of like Dante Pettis in the preseason. Then he got himself hurt after week 2. And didn't play, and now he's been back for 2 games, and he has 8 catches. So just a name to, I guess, watch a little bit. But he has some tougher matchups coming up. So yeah, Julio, I'll say from Thursday, 11 for 147, but he finds himself way down the list here in standard because no touchdowns. Finally didn't get a touchdown, but the guy's good.
Yeah, he's crazy good.
T.Y. Hilton, 7 for 125. He's had 2 really big games in a row now. And nice to see that. Mike Evans got his 6 catches again, turns it into 116 like he does. Just six
Yeah.
catches. So
And really, the people that, a lot of these guys that we're talking about that are, probably just outside the top 20, we'll say. But you're talking T.Y., Julio, and who else? We're talking about Mike Williams as well, who was up there for 2 touchdowns. But you're also linking it to who's playing well at quarterback, and it's kind of sneaky, but the 2 guys that have been playing very, very well that we just probably haven't talked about quite enough. Well, obviously Luck has been playing out of his mind. He's been great. He's had that stretch where he's 3 or more touchdowns a game, and then also Rivers, once again, we always talk him up as he's such a great, safe pick. And he's another guy that has just been killing it. So, him attaching to Keenan Allen as well, who shows up among these guys as well, just a couple above Julio. He had another great game, 7 catches for 72 and a touchdown, 3 games in a row, scoring a touchdown. Exactly what we were talking about when we were saying that he has been putting up yardage. And we think that he will eventually get in the end zone. And, you're reaping the benefit 3 weekends in a row now.
Yeah, I hope people went out and got him when we were telling you to there. And his price probably wasn't that high. So he's been good. I think he'll continue to be good. Then how about you just jump into some tight ends here. Eric Ebron led the way because he had 2 touchdowns again. Just catches touchdowns.
Yeah,
11 on the year.
He does.
11 touchdowns. It's crazy.
What is the touchdown record?
I don't even
know?
know. I have to look it up for tight ends, but he's been impressive. At least catching touchdowns. The list is really it's just Zach Ertz. Okay, it's good. Vernon Davis caught a big touchdown. I was watching that when I was watching that game. I was at a Thanksgiving party. Saw it from the corner of my eye, and I thought it was Jordan Reed, and I had Jordan Reed in my lineup. Looked like Jordan Reed from across the room, and I was disappointed to find out it was Vernon Davis, but hey, whatever. Njoku got himself a touchdown, 5 for 63. Gronk got himself a touchdown coming back. And then you got Dan Arnold, Matt LaCosse, and there's Cook and Brait, and Rhett Ellison. It's a interesting position. I do say I like the fact that Jordan Reed is more involved again, though, for Washington. He seems like he's, last couple weeks, 7 catches and 6 catches, 71 yards, 75 yards, his best 2 yardage games of the year. The most catches he's had 2 weeks in a row. So it's nice to see that at least. But other than that, tight end position again, like we say every week, is kind of a little scarce.
Yeah, up and down. And I just looked it up real quick, and I believe that Gronk actually holds the single season tight end touchdown record with 17. So obviously, I thought it was actually a little bit lower than that. But
shot.
Yeah, so obviously Ebron has a shot at it, but
then
he has some work to do.
Quarterbacks, quick. We talked about Baker a little bit. Baker's been great. He's the number 1 QB for this week for in regular scoring here with 4 touchdown passes. Not bad. 33.9.
No, and man, you look at it too. I mean, really, week 7 against Tampa Bay, he came out 25 points, 24.9 actually. Then he had 18 against Pitt, but every week he's been getting better. 21.9, 28.6, 33.9, and now he's going against Houston. I don't expect him to always get to that 30, but I feel very safe that he's going to hit 20 and he's going to be a solid play nowadays.
Yeah, I think he will be. I feel comfortable with Baker. Kirk Cousins had a solid game. Dak Prescott did solid, some Luck, Breeze, like I said, Allen. Jameis looked good again. We kind of figured he would.
Yeah, we did. This was the game we thought he was going to do well. Now the question is he going to do well next week?
That's where we don't know. He's always good this game. This game was no surprise.
Yeah, exactly. One game back.
Yeah. Then Rivers did solid. The normal names. Lamar Jackson got himself 71 rushing yards and a touchdown, which again, this is why he makes himself relevant as a fantasy option every week. He runs the ball. And, he does pretty well. Okay, this is where a couple of things you got to look at. Aaron Rodgers, 13.9. This is his last 5 weeks. It's 17.9, 23.2, 22.1, 25.6, 13.9. Those 20s are okay. They're fine, but they're not typical Aaron Rodgers.
Right. They're not what you expect.
They're just not.
And I don't know what to say. Really, at this point, you're more than likely you're
Oh,
playing
yeah.
him. But
he was.
that's the question, I guess. If you did have Aaron Rodgers, right, and we talked this way about Brady as well last week, but if you had Rodgers and say you also have someone that you could have picked up in later rounds, right, so say you got a Goff as well or something of that nature, do you think about sitting Rodgers at any point?
I mean,
or do you just stick with him because, hey, like really, 13.9 is definitely his lowest I've seen him do in a while. But before that, and that's 18 point as well. But 22, you're kind of like disappointed, right? It's not like he does have a 32 and a 34 this year.
I'll say
well.
week 13 and 14, I'm playing him, Arizona, Atlanta. But week 15 at Chicago in what could be a cold game, who knows weather-wise, I am probably looking at sitting Aaron Rodgers if I have another option. He's not just a 100% sure thing guy anymore. So that week 15, if you're in the playoffs and it's going to be hard because 15, chances are you could be in a championship. You're at least in the semifinal and you could be thinking of sitting Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I would probably look at doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but then Carson Wentz, another poor outing, I would say.
Another one, man. Yeah, 2 in a row, and I mean, it was no week 11.
Yeah,
but,
still.
But yeah, again, 15 points. Yeah, exactly. And he was coming off such a hot streak where he was, 22 was the lowest, and he topped out at 30. So he was doing real well for about 5-6 weeks there. So I don't know what's going on with them. I'm not sure exactly, but it definitely cascades down. It feels like even Ertz felt the pain last week. So it's something to definitely look at because it's stretching out to every person that you might have on the Eagles.
And then you might as well just drop Matt Stafford if you have him on your team. It's a pretty pitiful 4-week stretch he's had. Actually, no use.
Yeah, really bad.
No need to use him. That offense isn't creative. It doesn't do anything. And teams I think they figured it out. So, all right. I think that's going to do it, though. I don't got anything else. Lions are terrible.
Nope.
No.
Right.
They're bad. But, oh well. But all right, that'll do it for the Week 12 review. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk to you guys about some waiver wire options. Talk to you then.